Instagram. All right, we got it working. We got it working. It wasn't letting me connect for a reason or two. Anyway, we're here. Happy, what day is today? Thursday. Thursday is my public facing day, so I'm doing interviews and hangouts and podcasts and all sorts of fun stuff every day. And I'm excited to be here, chat with you guys. I'm waiting on a special guest, so I'm excited to introduce you guys to and see how we can tell his story, bring some value. So all day long, I like having one day a week that I'm spending on just extrovert hat, because I hate doing interviews and then trying to write my book and then trying to do some other big project. When I can just have one day where it's all day interviews and hangouts and podcasts, and as an introvert, I get that one day to put my extrovert hat on and then go and do my work. I just find it easier. I'm in a more energetic state. I think paying attention to energy is really super important. So if I look, let me flip this around. Let me flip this around while we wait for my special guest to join us here. Look. Where is it? Here, right? Can you see this? This is all like interviews and hangouts and podcasts and all sorts of fun. All right, but I see my guest here. He's here in the chat. We're going to bring him in. Let's send the invite. Where are you? There he is. The original mentor coming on, sharing some advice. And there he is.
Hey, Evan. Good to meet you, man.
Mr. Shawn Thomas in the house. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Good to meet you.
Good to meet you. How are you handling Crona and operating your businesses?
Our business is virtual. So we've had a few drops of clients, a lot of additions, probably breaking even as far as attrition rate. Team is here. I got two full-time team members, so we're still working here, being real safe and careful. All of our clients are entrepreneurs, so we're helping them through this fun, torturous time. But luckily, God willing, everything is going well, man. I can't complain.
Cool, man. So I was checking out your stuff and your accelerator program, really focusing on helping entrepreneurs get to their first million in revenue. Why is that number such a make or break? Like, why focus on the first million?
Well, there's a lot of organizations out there that cater to seven-figure business owners. Like, I'm a member of Entrepreneurs Organization, which you have to be doing $1 million just to join. And there's a lot of organizations like YEC and Vistage and things like that that really cater to entrepreneurs who have already gotten to a certain part of the journey as an entrepreneur. And the reason why is because those entrepreneurs have more budget to spend on memberships like that, because they charge anywhere from $4,000 and up, right? And so when I sold my business back in 2013 and I got on Instagram, I started seeing a proliferation of startup bootstrapping entrepreneurs that were getting into the gig society as digital marketers, freelancers, and things like that, wanting to live that laptop lifestyle. But they didn't really know how to build a business. They started kind of learning copywriting or graphic design or coding or WordPress or anything that it might be, but they didn't really know how to build a business. And there weren't a lot of resources available for the bootstrapping entrepreneur to really get access to guys like you and me and girls like you, like that are out there, and they couldn't join the clubs. So after a while, I just said, you know what? I'm just going to create an organization for the worst market to start an organization in, the one that needs the most help, has the least amount of money, and really doesn't even know what questions to ask. And when you give them the advice of something that they need to invest in, they don't have the money. But so, dude, it's been a really tough ride, but that's the reason why $1 million, because once you get to $1 million, you're already building your team. And then you're starting to work on the business. As you know, you're working on leadership, team building, culture, expansion, and those types of things. So I wanted to start a business for that guy I was when I was younger, going through that stage. And it's been fun.
So what are the things you think people are missing? Most people never hit $1 million in revenue. Right. What are the things, like what are the 2 or 3 things that you find just you know you're going to have to deal with as you bring somebody through your organization to help somebody get to that first million?
Well, the first thing, like anything, is, as a consultant, you want to figure out where they're at, what they're doing, where they're struggling with, and what their goal is. And so everybody's a little bit different in business, because each of us as people, we have different personalities and we have different strengths and weaknesses. So what I want to do really quick is figure out what somebody's strengths are and what their weaknesses are. Because the way to build a company is you have to hire people to do your weaknesses so you can focus on your strengths. So that's the first thing we do, is try to determine what are they good at. So if it's a person who's good at sales and business development and vision, then we know that their first hires are probably going to be some operational and admin type people. But by and large, a lot of small business owners that are starting out, they're more operationally focused, or they know how to provide their service, like they're a bookkeeper, they are a freelancer, and they know how to provide their service very well, but they're not a really good salesperson. So someone that might be good at Facebook ads, someone that might be good at graphic design, someone that might be good at those skills that are part of a company, and they can make a living as a freelancer, but they're not good salespeople. So we want to work with them on trying to understand that they need to build out some sort of sales or marketing system for their business. And so we have to determine, are they the type of business that we can throw ads at it to get them leads, and then they can hire someone to just handle the leads to close deals? Or are they more business to business type of situation where they need to actually hire a salesperson to go out there and drum up business? So it's a little different for each business, but sales drives everything, as you know. So we really focus on trying to focus on sales first, while also increasing their leadership skills, because as they build their team, they're going to need to learn how to hire, onboard, train, and set up systems.
So when I was doing the venture capital business, one of the first things we always had to look at is this person actually the person who can build the $100 million company? Or are they just a great CTO or COO, but not the CEO, and they can't sell, right? So if they can't sell to investors, I mean, we need to get somebody who can actually sell. So how often do you have to tell the person, hey, maybe you shouldn't even be running this company, but you need a good partner or a good CEO we're going to install to run this business?
Not often, because small business is different from a bootstrapping entrepreneur. Most of the people that join our organizations aren't looking to build billion-dollar companies with platforms and, that type of thing. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you, I was talking to somebody just about this yesterday, and we were like saying, hey, it was actually, it was a doctor. She was an internal medicine doctor that just joined our organization, and she's doing a little bit under $1 million up in Canada. She's got like 50 people that works in her clinic, and she hates having to deal with all the team stuff. She's like, I'm a doctor. I just want to own the clinic, and I want it to just run smoothly. And I did advise her. I said, well, Dr. V, I said, you probably need maybe not a CEO, but you definitely should look at probably getting a president or a COO type, or a general manager, if you will, that can be your right-hand person, and then you train them to run the business for you, and you just be the CEO. And we set up systems and processes so that you can, meet with them once a week or once a month to analyze the business. And she was like, whoa, I never really thought about that. But yeah, there are some times in certain businesses that you're better off bringing a CEO. I'm an investor in a company that's a handbag company. And I started off with a guy, 4 or 5 years ago, and he was the CEO. And when he started really growing exponentially and getting into big department stores and scaling, he was smart, and he brought in a real financial CEO. Since you brought up venture capital, this. Most bootstrapping entrepreneurs will never get to this, but when you start to get to 20 million, 15, 20 million, if you really want to scale and get to 50, 100 million for a potential exit, it's a different kind of CEO from an entrepreneur CEO like myself. You start to really need a financial CEO, or a really good CFO, or CEO, someone who really understands architecture of business, of scaling. And so he brought in a CEO, and he's still the majority shareholder, but he was smart in that he brought in a CEO because that guy is brilliant with systems, spreadsheets, team building, all those things. But the bootstrapping entrepreneur, they usually aren't going to get to that phase. They just want to create they want to live the American dream or the worldwide dream, if you will. They want to have a great business that they don't have to show up every day. It runs itself at some point. They can manage it, and it puts off enough income for them to live the life that they want to live. And that's more our community. Some of them might go off to be, big companies, but our goal is to get them to that million. So I can then, my goal, honestly, Evan, is with this company, I'm trying to set up kind of a legacy play here. Last year we graduated 5 members who hit their first 7 figures, and now I'm training them to be mentors in our group.
Okay.
So what'll happen is my goal is every year we spit off, a certain amount of entrepreneurs that hit their first million, and I plant the seed from the very beginning that my goal is get them to $1 million so they can then become a $1 million business and then mentor other people that are in their shoes. We're in their shoes. And so within a couple of years, my goal is to have 20, 30, 50, 100 different mentors giving back, helping startup entrepreneurs, and that's what scales. And then I'm just that guy. God, I remember Shawn, that guy that started that thing a long time ago. That's my whole goal here, is to build something like that.
So how does the accelerator program work? Are they paying to join? Are you taking a fee or percentage of equity or revenue? Like, what's the business model?
Yeah, we definitely don't take any type of equity. It's $100 a month, $99 a month for someone to join. I've set up a back-end system that creates the ability for people to easily ask questions. It's all done virtually. So it's not like they're picking up the phone and calling me. It's all done virtually through a back-end website portal that I built, a private Facebook group, Zoom meetings, those types of things. And right now we've got 14 different mentors that are all running 7, 8-figure businesses. And all of the mentors kind of just donate their time, once a month to come in and answer questions of the members. Super simple, super easy. And then what happens is we get to know them. You and I both know at some point, mentorship's great at all times, but at some point you're going to want to probably hire a coach or a consultant for certain aspects of your business, whether it's financial, sales training, e-commerce training, branding. At some point, you're going to need access to some experts that can help certain areas of your business. So what we try to do is form partnerships with legitimate businesses and organizations and entrepreneurs so that we can send people to trusted resources. And so we'll just kind of send them outside of our system. But that's part of mentorship, is making introductions to reliable, trusted resources. And as you probably have seen in your world too, there's a lot of people that get taken by people that say they can do something. And one of the parts of mentorship that I love the most is knowing that when I make that recommendation, they can trust that it's real and they're not going to get scammed, screwed, and that's a big part of what we do.
Or even to angels or to VCs, if they have the desire to get beyond $1 million. And now if you've got $1 million business, you become super interesting for angels or VCs, depending on the field. If it's a retail store, maybe not, but any tech or anything with high margins, that's pretty interesting for them to take a look at. And if joining absolutely. You becomes like the stepping stone to then getting $1 million, $10 million in funding to go build the next whatever. I'm sure there's got to be some people who have bigger ambitions than just building $1 million business.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be an interesting phase now that we're just getting into that people are graduating and doing $1 million we have a couple one that's doing almost $4 million. It's on the parking lot to see about developing some relationships with some angel investor groups so that we can send them over there. We haven't started doing that yet, but it's on the parking lot.
I'd love to see a Shark Tank episode with just your crew.
It's fun. We do during this time. I started doing a weekly Zoom, and just saying, hey, I'll just throw in an extra week of Zoom to where I'll just take time off on Monday nights because people are just going crazy, right? And it's interesting, when you talk to startup entrepreneurs, it's not hard to understand why they're struggling. Mm-hmm. It's really not hard because a lot of people that are just starting off don't have great communication skills, and they don't even know how to pitch their business at all. Like, they don't know. We do an annual conference, and one of the conferences we had last year, I just impromptu said, okay, everybody stand up and give a pitch of your company. And it was horrendous. It was horrendous. And I said, you guys are in business for yourselves and you don't even know how to talk about your own company. This is branding 101. And so I immediately went out and developed a relationship with a branding company and made that a big part of what we do. So yeah, man, it's
This
fun.
is why we often had to replace a CEO, because they're actually just a better technologist or doctor or something, and they come in as a subject matter expert, but not the pitch person, not the front face.
Exactly.
Because investors looking at that person say, well, they can't sell me. How are they going to sell the market on whatever product or service you're trying to sell?
Yeah, exactly.
And
that's
really cool.
That's what sales and communication is all about. I think it's the most underutilized, underinvested in skill out there is just plain old communication skills. Like you, me, all the other people that are really highly successful utilizing social media and video. It's not like we just picked it up and just learned how to do it. Like, we have invested time and years of making presentations to our teams, doing group presentations to clients, being in front of investors. This is a learned skill to learn how to communicate and talk about your business. And it's something that a lot of startup entrepreneurs just don't have a lot of experience with. Mm-hmm. They maybe worked for a company, like you're saying, they were CTO or they did something, but they've never been in the front. And it's a skill that has to be developed if you really want to get to that next level. So it's a good point that sometimes you do have to bring somebody in, or you know how it is, you just got to develop that skill yourself. I send people to Toastmasters all the time. Great organization. That's what they do. They help people learn how to, talk. I introduce them to books, but yeah, I think it's the most invested skill out there.
Now, what do you got on your wall behind you? You got some notes.
So this is written backwards, because this is Instagram. I do a lot of live streams. I don't know if you noticed, but my registered trademark is the original live stream mentor. Like, I started doing this about 5 years ago. So this is my, I wrote this backwards so that when I was on live streams, I could go, hey, I work for Accelerator's organization and we help businesses get to 7 figures. The mindset we use is most won't, I will. I'm willing to do things that others won't. And these are the 4 areas of business that you got to master to be a good business owner. And so I wrote this backwards, so I reference this as I do my live streams as people start asking business questions. So it's a little chalkboard back here that I had to write it backwards.
I like it. I mean, you can read it. It's great. So I mean, Brandon is number 1, which is super interesting.
Well, it's not in order of priority.
Okay.
It's kind of just 4 items. They're not listed in priority or steps. They just happen to be there. It probably should be bullets instead of 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're not written in a certain order.
I don't think a lot of entrepreneurs have a very clear sense of what their brand is. So if you're, quickly walking through brand strategy for somebody, what are some of the things that you try to pull out or look for to say, here's what your brand is all about?
Well, first off, I tell them, recognize that you're probably not the person that's going to know how to use the right words to do your brand strategy. And that's okay. If you do have that wordsmithing capability, fantastic. You're going to save yourself money, and there's a lot of how-to guides out there that you can use. But the first thing is figure out your vision, figure out your mission, figure out your unique selling proposition, write your core values, and then figure out who your ideal client is. Those are the 5 things that you've got to do in the very beginning is figure out brand strategy. And what I recommend to people is do it on your own. There's lots of do-it-yourself type guides out there. I'm putting one together just because I didn't find one that had it the way I wanted it, but I'm putting together one. Go do the homework yourself, write it out like you're doing it yourself, and then just go give it to a heavy editor or a brand strategist person who can do the heavy editing for you, and then let them put it into the good words that it needs to be, because we don't know how to use those words. And instead of paying a creative agency or a branding agency $5,000, $10,000 for that, they might charge you a couple $1,000s because you already did all the heavy lifting. And so do that first before you get to your design phase. A lot of people just go, I'm starting a company, I need to go do a logo, I need to do my design. And then you go talk to the creative agencies and they're like, okay, well, what do you do? Who do you do it for? How do you do it?
Right.
And they're like, huh? So I'm trying to teach people to do it in order that way: strategy, then design, and then messaging. You take the strategy and the design, and then go out there and build your website, go out there and build your social media profiles, go build your sales and marketing aids and all those things. Most people do it ass backwards just because they haven't been taught any better,
Yeah. You don't learn in school.
That's the thing, Evan. The biggest thing I see with startup entrepreneurs, it's not because they don't want to succeed. It's not because they're not passionate about what they do. But when you're just starting out and you're a little kid in the world of business, you don't know what you don't know. Right? You just don't. And that's why it's so important to have people like you in their lives so that they can go, hey, Evan, I don't know what I need to be doing or what I should, but let me explain my situation of where I'm at and what I'm looking to accomplish. And can you tell me some things I should look for? And if you gave them advice, guaranteed there's going to be things that you would tell them they would have never even thought to even think about. And that's what coaching and mentorship is about, right?
Mm-hmm.
And go ahead.
No, I'm just thinking to the question on your board there, the most won't, I will. What do you find? What's the biggest thing that separates the people who have graduated to the people who aren't even willing to join the program? What are they willing to do that most people won't?
Well, they're not willing to ask for help.
They're
not willing to take the advice and go do the work. So that's the biggest thing. But man, the most won't, I will mindset goes off of that quote. I think it's like a Jim Rohn quote maybe, or somebody like that. Successful people are willing to do what unsuccessful people won't do or don't know how to do. And that's what makes them successful. A successful person is going to walk down the street and see a piece of a Coke can on the ground, and they're going to pick it up and throw it in the trash. It's just innately in their mindset to be a better person and do what the world needs done to do it. And it's second nature. If I see that the bathroom is dirty, I'm going to clean it up. If I see, it's just doing the things that most people won't do. And sometimes I wonder if that's something you can teach. Some people learned at an early age. Like my parents beat the shit out of me, not literally, but my dad was in the military. So, I had to do things right the first time or it was going to get done whether I did it 50 times. And that just stayed with me. So that's the mindset, is if I don't know how to do it, I can spend more time and money learning how to do it myself, which is fine. Or I can hire someone to teach me to do it, or I can hire someone to do it for me. But a successful person is going to do one of those three things. The unsuccessful person will just not do it and say, do you want fries with that? I don't know.
But I love it. The willingness to ask for help. Shawn, crazy how quickly time flies when you're having fun. If people want to dive deeper into your world, they can go to Instagram, The Original Mentor. But where else do you want them to go? Or is that the best spot if they want to learn more about you and what you're doing?
So that's the best spot if they just want to follow a generic meme account with motivation and shit like that. That's what that account's for. I got the Brand Mentor is where I put out a lot of branding stuff to help people with branding. And then my website is just acceleratoorg.com. And that's where they can check out our mentorship program and join. We got a week trial that's 99 cents to join for a week, just to check it out, just to let us show that we're legit, real people. Try to make it as easy, I try to make it as easy as possible for people to do business with me. So those are the places. And Evan, man, I appreciate you. I've seen your stuff over the years. I figured at some point we would connect at some point. So it's good to meet you, man. I really appreciate you reaching out.
Here it is. Thank you, man. Appreciate the time and all the value you're sharing, and world needs more mentorship. So I'm glad you're doing your thing.
Yeah, man. If there's anything I can ever do for you, just feel free to reach out at any time. Okay.
Appreciate you. Thanks, Shawn.
All right, man. Peace out.
Cheers.
Cheers.